Now notice if we look at the group of next examples, we have negative exponents. Remember, our rules for negative exponents tell us that negative exponents are actually not a big deal. Our rules for negative exponents tell us, what do you do with negative exponents? Well, if they're on the top, you drop them down to the denominator, and then the exponent will become positive when you drop them. Or, if something's already got a negative exponent on the denominator, you can move it to the top, and that will drop the negative on the exponent. Again, it didn't matter if these exponents were just regular numbers or fractional, the rules are still the same. So we'll start doing these the same exact way we've done thus far. We'll start with the bottom number. So if we look at this first one, we've got a 3 on the bottom, which tells me we've got a cube root of the 27 there. Well, cube root of 27 is 3. We cannot ignore the numerator, the 4, which tells me I'm going to raise whatever I have to the 4th power. Well, 3 to the 4th power means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Well, the 2 pairs of 3s will give me 9 and 9, which will give me a total of 81. So 3 to the 4th is 81. The only thing I have not dealt with at all and have completely ignored is the negative exponent. What did we say negative exponents do? If we want to make them positive, we drop them to the bottom of a fraction with a 1 on top. So our answer will be the same as what we got, the 81, but it will just be on the bottom of a fraction with 1 on top. That is our final answer. 1 over 81. Let's try another one. Look on this next one. We've got 81 to the negative 3 halves. Again, we'll start the same way. We'll start with the 2 on the bottom, which tells me to start by taking the square root of the 81 first. Well, the square root of 81 is just 9. Now, I can't ignore the regular exponent, the 3 on the top, which tells me I need to cube that. Now, you would not be expected to know what 9 cubed is off the top of your head. What is 9 cubed? 9 cubed is 9 times 9 times 9, which using my calculator is a 729. And again, the only thing I haven't dealt with is this negative exponent. What will that do? It will just drop my answer to the denominator to get rid of the negative exponent. So it will just have a hidden 1 on top. So my final answer ends up being 1 over what I got, which was the 729. That is my final answer. Now the question becomes, what do I do when I have a negative exponent on an entire fraction? Well, a negative exponent on an entire fraction means the negative exponent will go on the top and the bottom. So that means whatever was on the top with the negative exponent would move to the bottom, and whatever was on the bottom with the negative exponent would move to the top. So to get rid of that negative exponent, I can just flip the entire fraction that's inside of that negative exponent upside down. So that will turn into 125 over 64. Now, if you flip that fraction on the inside, my exponent, which was negative, will now become positive. Well, then, all I have to do is go after that denominator, the 3, which is going to tell me what kind of root I have. It means I've got a cube root of what was there, which is the 125 over 64, which means I need to take the cube root of the top. Well, taking the cube root of the top first, the 125 will get me a 5. And taking the cube root of the, the bottom, the 64 will get me just a 4. I'm almost done, not quite though. I have not forgotten that there was a 2 on top of my exponent here, of my exponent fraction here. Well, that means I still need to take whatever I'm getting here at the very end and not forget to square it. Remember, squaring a fraction means I would have to square the top and the bottom, everything that's inside. Well, squaring the 5 on top will get me a 25. Squaring the 4 on the bottom will get me a 16. And that fraction's already reduced, so that's my final answer of 25 over 16. In problem D, let's do the same exact tactic. Notice again we have a negative exponent on a fraction, so to get rid of the negative exponent, we can just get away with flipping the entire fraction upside down, which would get us 25 over 64. But by doing so, that makes our negative exponent a positive exponent. So that will turn into a positive 3 halves. Then the question becomes, what does that 2 on the bottom do? Well, that will take the square root of that entire fraction, 25 over 64. Well, the square root of 25 over 64 is 5 over 8. Well, then the last thing I have to worry about is the 3 on top, which tells me I need to actually cube that entire fraction, whatever I'm getting for my answer. Well, cubing an entire fraction means I need to cube the top and cube the bottom. Well, cubing 5 will get me 125, and cubing 8 will get me actually 512. That's already reduced, so that's my final answer.